Hey guys, per usual, everything on this channel is for educational purposes only and is not intended as financial advice. So I've decided to change the series just slightly. I'm going to do top 5 coins, including Ripple. Ugh, I know, but if I'm in it myself, there's no reason not to talk about it, because I'm just sharing with you what I do anyway. So let's get started with Bitcoin here. Another thing I'm going to do is use an index instead of one exchange. I think right now there's so much decoupling, divergence, and just nonsense going on with USD deposits and withdrawals to really use one exchange over the other. Doesn't really have a good reason other than, you can use GDEX and BTC actually have decent charts right now, but their order book is generally thinner, meaning the price action is all over the place. So I'm just going to use an averaged out index, hopefully smooth things over. I'm going to use BLX on the 4-hour, which you can only get if you are a member of Brave New Coin. This isn't an ad for them. I'm just saying if you're looking for it on TradingView, you can't find it. You will be able to look at 1 day or higher on BLX. All right, here's Bitcoin. So immediately, a few things come to mind. Why the hell are we going up still is number one, but some chart patterns are definitely here. You can see we've sort of hit a few support zones already. So resistance, support, decision time was in here, and resistance again. So it makes sense that we're bouncing from here, and the next stop would definitely be up here. So if we make it beyond this point, it's just no breaks, I think. We just keep going until we discover a price. And in reality, this probably never happened. It's on the chart, so it happened, but for charting purposes, it might not even be worth paying attention to. So, if we make it past, if we close a candle in the 4-hour above 1300, let's say, you can expect a much higher target. So the candles themselves, I don't really see much on the 4-hour. So the chart patterns include inverted head and shoulders. There's a giant one here. Both of these will be in the Bitcoin Magazine article that will be posted tomorrow. But so shoulder, head, shoulder. Here's the resistance, horizontal resistance. You'll see, we're right there right now. It's got descending volume. You should expect a breakout of volume as we break the horizontal. So the measured move for the inverted head and shoulders is like 1575, something like that. And you can also expect that we sort of do one of these, known as a throwback. I'd look for that. So don't get shook out. If you see that and think, oh my god, we're at all-time high, so it's certainly possible we don't keep going, but this is a pretty strong setup for that. The other pattern here is the cup and handle. Here's the cup. Some people like to draw like hot liquid. Here's the handle, and the measured move for that's about 1590. And you can see this whole thing. We didn't drop below the 50% fib, which is really good. It's actually, the lower you drop, the more bullish it is on the fibs. So you can see we basically held the 786. So that says this is extremely bullish if it's real. And again, descending volume profile. So those are chart patterns. Let's move to cloud. Cloud's pretty interesting because we actually had on this chart, now on Bitfinex or Bitstamp, it looks a little different, which is why I think it's important to chart index right now. On this chart, you have the 4-hour cross-recross, which is a heavily bullish indicator for a re-entry, and as far as long is concerned. The other charts were showing an edge-to-edge trade, which didn't ever happen here. There was never a candle close in the cloud. So overall, cloud told you to open a long here, close your long about here. Not a huge trade as far as that's concerned. But you can see it had 1, 2, 3, 4 drives-ish above the cloud. So if you're missing out on this, some people are obsessed with finding tops and bottoms, but I'm okay with, the 60 to 80% in the middle. That is just the easy stuff. So anyway, a bullish DK cross is telling me expect this to go higher. If we look at the pitchfork, so you can draw this a variety of ways, but if you draw it like this, so from the Bitfinex hack low to the latest swing high low, okay, make sure your chart's in log, and we zoom in a little bit, you can see we're exactly where we should be as far as expected trend is concerned at the mean or median line of the pitchfork. Now the immediate support resistance is this diagonal support, this diagonal. So this target would be 1400, and then the ultimate target, you know, just straight up from here is 1540. A few days from here is 16 something. So again, that's within the range of the cup and handle, the inverted head and shoulders. I just have a lot of trepidation concerning the price movement because of the USD restrictions. Basically, it creates this unnatural supply-demand thing where if you can't put USD on an exchange, you have to buy a cryptocurrency to get off the exchange. So yeah, you can still get there with USD through your bank and like a foreign entity, blah blah blah, but it's much easier just to buy Bitcoin and get it off there. If we look at Heikin-Ashi, you can see we had basically sideways with variable momentum, and then we had bullish momentum, waning bullish momentum, and then 3 or 4 candles now with size of bullish momentum. So you could consider that an entry just based on this pattern. Green is an entry, flip green is an entry rather. So this was a flip green after Doji party, you know, Doji party, flip green. So we'll see how far this really goes. If we break 1300, expect 1500. If I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it. Not with confidence, but I'm going to say it. Then lastly, if you look at the 5200 crosses, I've talked about this in a few videos now, but there's definitely a bullish cross here with the cloud signal for long. You know, everything was bullish on cloud. And then we held on the cloud, we held on the Kijun, we held on the 50. All this is telling me we're okay to go up. We've pulled back enough, quote unquote. So, I mean, I'm not long or short right now, so it is what it is, but I'm definitely leaning bullish based on the chart patterns more than anything, and the cloud specifically. Alright, so that was Bitcoin. Here we go to Ethereum. Now, Ethereum's had some nasty wicks that really make it hard to say anything with confidence. But immediately, you know, it looks like it's trying to sell off. I don't know what happened here and or here to really cause any of this, other than probably a thin order book on Poloniex. I don't know. But there's a potential head and shoulders here. Let me just delete some of this stuff here 1 second. Okay, so there's a potential head and shoulders here, and that sort of makes sense considering there's an inverted head and shoulders with Bitcoin, and this is an inverted pair, so it should be, the chart pattern should be inverted, but again, you're seeing a descending volume profile, so you would expect volume to pick up with a break of this level especially. Notice all these wicks here. This has been support, so this breaks. It should break down to the next level down around 2277, something like that. So that's chart pattern. There's no inverted cup and handle on here that I can see. Normally that's a bearish continuation sign, and this is just a reversal from a top, so you shouldn't be looking for that anyway. But anyway, we look at 5200. With ETH, you can see, you know, the cross was sort of noisy in here, then it really took off. It held on the 200. It's trying to hold on the 200 again. So again, if the 200 does not hold the price up, expect it to go lower. As far as Heikin-Ashi is concerned, this has all been really rangy, so it's hard to say any of this with confidence, but again, you're looking for a flip in colors, flip in signals. You had 3 candles now that are red. It's above the 200, so technically everything's still bullish territory. So should this break below the 200 and you get 2 or 3 red candles, again, that's more and more bearish evidence that this is going to go lower. And lastly, with the cloud here, you can see it did not hit the edge-to-edge target. It came close. And there was a bull flag here that did break up. But then, again, I don't know what happened here exactly, but this is definitely leaning bearish, which makes sense considering all the other stuff I just said. Because price is trying to close below the cloud. So should the price close below the cloud, TK is already bearish, cloud's already bearish, all the bearish entry signals are there, so your short entry would be as soon as the 4-hour candle closes below the cloud. Next we move to Ripple. Let me turn off the cloud for a second. And again, just like Ethereum, it seems to be breaking support pretty heavily on this horizontal here. We just draw that as an area, something like this. Sorry, let me get rid of all this crap. Okay, something like this. Why is this support? Because this over here was resistance. This is a low time frame ascending triangle which broke up beautifully. So this should be support. If this doesn't hold, again, expect it to go lower, just like Ethereum had that range of support. As far as Heikin-Ashi is concerned, you can see there, just like Ethereum, but to a greater degree here, this has had several red candles. So your entry would probably be, if you were short or selling, you know, in here. But again, it wasn't exactly breaking support, so it's really hard to say. But I'm still long. I've been long somewhere in here, up here. So I'm just going to hold this until, you know, if it breaks below this level, then sure, get rid of it. But I'm just going to hold on to it. The reason I'm going to hold on to it, the reason I was long in the first place, definitely jumping the gun, but there was an edge-to-edge setup here. It never closed in the cloud anyway. But the target from the current price is basically this 4K sat level. Something like, excuse me, something like that. I don't think there's any div per se. You can see just how bearish the momentum is here. So I'd expect almost a lower low here with a higher low in RSI, creating a bear div. That would be the first sign of life. Second sign of life would be a W or an Adam Eve, and then the target would be probably in 3,500, which would bring us to 4K with edge to edge, but that's days and days away, so I'll be watching that definitely. Here you can see again the importance of the 200 on these pairs, because it's reaching for the 200. If it doesn't bounce from the 200, expect it to go lower. The 200 is also approximately the resistance of this ascending triangle. So when I say it in my head, it all makes sense, right? It's a bunch of support confluence here. If it doesn't hold, it will go lower. That's how I read it. So here's Dash, which is basically just range mode at the moment. You can see there was a definite Adam Eve attempt. There was an inverted head and shoulders attempt. None of it has quite materialized back to its measured move targets. Just kind of chilling. And again, there's just been a steadily decline in volume. It did bounce from previous support, previous resistance, and no man's land. So again, just like all these other pairs, you know, if it breaks this zone, expect it to go lower. This giant support wick tells me it shouldn't go lower than here unless something very wrong happens. Or if Bitcoin goes to 1800, you know, expect alts to just die off entirely, but you'd expect this zone to hold for sure. There's actually a fairly reliable pitchfork on this, and the reason I say it's reliable is because this was exact resistance. It broke through and went to here, broke through, went to here, broke down, went to here, reached for this level certainly. So again, if it breaks this level, expect here. If it finally makes a decision, expect here. And that kind of follows through with the support confluence here. Heikin-Ashi has it just range bound really, so I wouldn't really pay attention to Heikin-Ashi. You want to look for Heikin-Ashi when you're certain there's a defined trend. Right now I'm certain it's defined ranging. And if we look at Cloud and 5200, you can see that the edge to edge here didn't play out exactly as expected either. And when these don't play out in the cloud, they'll play out if price reaches out of the cloud. So if there's a Kumo breakout here, expect this to be the first target, second target, and so on. So this will definitely be the first target, the 7-6 level. If there's a bullish Kumo breakout, if there's a bearish breakout, I'd expect it to retest this 048 zone again. And as far as 5200, still bearish. So should this cross bullish with a bullish Kumo breakout, that's a long entry signal, definitely. It's already bearish. It's already leaning bearish for the 5200, so if it breaks below the cloud, I think there's less downside and more upside, but it's probably about 50-50. So I would wait for the Kumo breakout or 5200 cross. But if you get both together, that's obviously best. And I'm just looking, there's no divs or anything here. So next and lastly, we move to Light Rock. I'm using the Poloniex pair. Might not be the best decision, but I'll just stick with Polo for now. So there's no active chart patterns that I see here, although there's definitely a descending volume profile. And that's really the first thing I look for when I look for a chart pattern, as far as consolidation is concerned. Is there a chart pattern to match this descending volume profile? There isn't always, and this is a good example of that. You can see prices just all over the place. And again, that could be a thin order book. But you have what you have in front of you. You can't just imagine chart patterns that aren't there. There's definitely a bear div here. That price pulled back. No div here, but price pulled back anyway. No bull div here, so price is still continuing to pull back. I don't see anything on candles really in this time frame that's too remarkable. If we go to Heikin Ashi, again, you're seeing 3 or 4 red candles in a row here after sideways doji party. So that would be considered a short entry or a sell signal. Definitely by the second candle. So your long signal, let's just see where it is in the 200. So everything's still bullish according to the 200. This is bullish territory up here. So your long re-entry signal would be 2 or 3 green candles in Heikin Ashi. And if we switch back to candles and just go to the 5200 real quick, you can see it held the 50 here. It is not currently looking like it's going to hold here, so this will be your first target. So 00739 level. I'm not really sure what's going on with Litecoin's SegWit stuff. I know it's been back and forth whether or not it's going to be activated. So should it activate, I expect that to be bullish just on news alone, because that's going to be the first coin, maybe, I think, to have SegWit. If we move to the cloud, you can see it's attempting an edge-to-edge here. And again, that would fit the 200 support level. So expect all this in here to be support, especially this flat Kumo, this cloud part here. So the TK was still bullish when all this happened. So there's a bit of a divergence as far as whether or not you should be short that we're not here based on the 4-hour TK lines. So if we recross, and the price goes above cloud, that's obviously a bullish re-entry signal, but right now it's saying either stay out or put bids here or short to this zone. That's what it's telling me. And lastly, I just want to mention this bearish pitchfork, which isn't necessarily saying there's a bearish trend, but it helps me figure out whether or not the bullish trend will resume. So what I mean by that is, if price begins to break out above this pitchfork with all the other things, with the cloud, if it's up here, blah, 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 expect continuation. But currently it's just going to be pull back probably to the 200, somewhere in here or here. You might get a wick to here, whatever it is. These are just more lines you can look at to determine where to put bids, where to put short exits, things like that in a bull trend. So I certainly wouldn't recommend necessarily trading this short from here to here, especially because as this is forming, it's going to be tough for you to just, make out a pitchfork, because you can do it here. You can see we broke out here, broke out here, haven't broken out yet. So that's the current active bearish fork. Targets in here, like I said. So if you like my altcoin TA, I did 2-hour-long videos on all the alts on Polo, some of which are currently delisted, being delisted May 2nd, but Anyway, if you like anything else that you see on the channel, be sure to like the videos or dislike the videos, comment, subscribe, hit me up on Twitter, Telegram, and happy trading.